Welcome to Hallyu Cafe. Come in and let's have a chat. Hi everybody, it's Nikki. 안녕하세요. 저는 Nikki입니다. Summer's coming. For Florida, kids are already out of school for summer. So I kind of figured maybe I should talk to you guys about traveling to Korea. So first off, I think if you haven't been to Korea, but you want to go to Korea and see all the amazing places Korea has to offer, kind of brush up and read up on Korean history and then choose the places you most likely want to go to and kind of make yourself a list whether or not you just want to go to one area or if you would like to go and just travel throughout all of Korea. That's like step number one. Then I think you should definitely try to learn at least some basic Korean. A few sentences that will just simply make your life much easier because a lot of the older people don't speak English. While most young people, I want to say, speak English, there's still many that do not. So I think if you want to go to Korea, just learn like your basic hello, goodbye, maybe some numbers or certain items that you most likely need to use or buy. Learn those in Korean. And if you want, I can always make another podcast on this and kind of teach you certain sentences or phrases that will be most helpful to you when you travel to Korea. Like for me, while I'm not completely fluent and I'm starting to be able to understand people speaking in Korean, when I lived in Korea, I was at least able to get by when I went to the grocery store and I was looking for something. So I could converse like that and have a conversation, at least when I needed something or when I needed to find something specific. Then I would think that you should go check with your phone service if you need to get a special SIM card for when you go to Korea or if there's a different plan you'll need with your phone. I mean, Wi-Fi is pretty much everywhere in Korea. There's so many coffee shops that have free Wi-Fi and just other areas with free Wi-Fi that if you need to check your map or something, you can always log into the Wi-Fi and check that way if you don't want to be dependent on your phone. If you would like to have your phone and be able to, I don't know, call back home or text or something like that, then I would really suggest checking with whoever your phone carrier is and see if you need a SIM card or a special plan or something like that. Yes, flights to Korea are long. It takes around 12 hours from LA and around 14-ish hours from New York. My flight was around 16 hours, and I took a flight from Atlanta. Again, those hours are not counting you getting to one of those main hubs that then has a straight flight to Korea. So just be prepared that you'll probably be traveling for around a day, 24 hours or more, depending on how long your layover is. Be prepared for a long flight. Bring entertainment. Also a suggestion, I think taking an Asian airline is definitely the way to go. I've only had good experience with Asian airlines. I flew to Germany with Singapore, and that was the best experience I've ever had besides Korean Airlines. I've only had issues with any other airlines I've flown. Lufthansa was okay too. But like if you go to Korea, go ahead and try to see if there's a Korean air flight or something like that. Because when I went with my daughter, who was still a toddler, all the flight attendants were so sweet, kept my daughter entertained without me asking them for anything. They gave her toys. When I had to use the restroom, they would sit with my daughter so she wouldn't be sitting there alone or I would have to juggle her into the tiny restroom. So really, flight attendants on any Asian airlines are absolutely amazing. I was flying alone when I flew to Korea, and I was meeting up my husband who was already in Korea. But I was so nervous just just the whole thought of what if I can't find him, whatnot. So I got talking to the flight attendants, and they completely made my mind at ease and kind of talked me through the layout of the airport and everything. So that was really, really awesome. Then my next suggestion or tip, advice is when you're flying, don't overpack. I mean your actual luggage and your carry-on. In your luggage, you will bring stuff back home. That's just how it is. Souvenirs, beauty items, something along that line. Ramyun. You will bring things back. So don't overpack because you don't want to have to pay extra. Then carry-on. For the longest time when I've flown, I've always overpacked my carry-on and brought all that stuff that I don't need. So now when I fly, I only bring my iPad, my phone, maybe something to write, because I like to write and draw. But literally, the iPad is probably the only thing I really need. So think about that. Like, what would you want to spend your time with? If you like reading books, bring books, or bring an e-reader. That's totally up to you. But just kind of be mindful. It's a long flight. Definitely bring snacks, like snacks that are allowed on the planes, like granola bars or something like that. I think you can bring that because, you don't get a ton of food flying anymore. But other than that, don't bring like stuff, toys or games or all these things that you think you're going to use, because you will not. And probably most of the time you are going to try to sleep. Also, before flying, change your US dollars or wherever you are, exchange that into Korean won. Don't wait until you're in Korea. There are places where you can exchange your money, but I think it's just so much easier when you're already getting there, when you're already going to Korea and you're there and you have some won to use, especially if you're going to use a cab or then take the train to your hotel. So have some cash on hand. And also, yes, you can use your credit card. But my suggestion to you is go out and venture into the countryside, because the food in the countryside is even more amazing. And yes, they probably won't be able to take your credit card. So in the countrysides or the smaller towns, make sure you have cash, or in general, just have cash. It's so much easier. Probably way less fees than if you were to use your credit card in a foreign country. So also keep that in mind. Then bring some slippers. While most hotels provide slippers to you, not all do. And Korea is a country where if you go into a house, you take your shoes off. And a lot of hotels I've seen are the same way, where you will have that little entryway to take your shoe off and then you walk in socks. But a lot of people probably prefer wearing slippers, or then also shower shoes, because unless you go into like a big chain hotel or something like that, your shower room is your bathroom. There is no special shower stall. That may have changed since I've been to Korea. But in most, especially if you go into like a smaller town, it will probably be still like that, where the whole bathroom is your shower, where you have a shower head hanging on one end of the bathroom, but then there's no like curtain or anything to keep the water from splashing everywhere. So maybe take some shower shoes too, like flip-flops or something. Tipping is not required in Korea. So if you go to a restaurant, you do not need to tip. And they don't expect to be tipped, like the housekeepers, cab drivers, anyone like that. They're not expecting you to tip them. It's not like here in the US where it's like 10 to 15%, I think, of what you're eating. No, in Korea, it's okay to not tip. So you can save some money on that route too. Don't bring any beauty items or skincare items. If you're able to, if your budget is okay to not have to bring and to actually buy Korean skincare, I thumb that up like a ton, because Korean skincare is the only skincare that has helped my skin kind of level out and adjust to not being broken out 100% of the time. So now my skin has gotten so much better and I only use Korean skincare. So kind of keep that in mind, and kind of, when you go out into the Face Shop or somewhere, or Toot House, which is an amazing brand, go ahead and stock up things that you like, because it will be really hard for you to get it either at the same price that it is in Korea, or in general just getting a hold of it and having it shipped to the US or whichever your country you're from. So, maybe budget it in to get Korean skincare instead of bringing your own, because beauty places, skincare places are in an abundance almost as much as coffee shops. So if you like coffee, Korea is also a good country to go to because there's coffee everywhere. One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about overpacking and what to pack, bring a power bank, especially on long flights. I know most bigger flights now have outlets in your seat, but not all do. I know my last flight to Germany, it didn't have one, even though it advertised it. So I was glad that I did bring my power bank. So bring a power bank and bring your own headphones and a neck pillow or a little blanket, because I've seen blankets that were not washed, that were just stuffed back stuffed back into the bag. So, if you want to be comfortable, bring your own if you can, if there's room. If not, don't sweat it. Just double check your blanket before you put it on yourself. But that goes for all airlines and not just Asian airlines. This is my rule of thumb for all airlines, to check the blankets, and I never use their headphones. I always bring my own, but then again, I have noise canceling headphones too. Yes. After talking about tipping, I want to talk to you guys about, and I don't want to say etiquette, but it's like part of the culture, things not to do at the table. So while you're kind of brushing up on Korean history and the language, brush up on the culture and see what the culture is like there if you don't know. For instance, is a very big example two things that I still catch myself doing. When handing someone money here in the US, we often just, give the money in one hand and that's it, and the other hand is wherever. But in Korea, you do not want to give someone money with just one hand. Either you use both of your hands, or you put the hand that you're not using to give the money on your elbow or near your elbow. And then I find myself doing that so many times where I feel like an idiot here in the US. It's when I say thank you, I do a slight bow, like I bow my head down, almost like a nod, but kind of with your upper body too. And it's just a silly incident that happened. I was at the gas station and I had to pay, but the internet was down, so it couldn't process my cart swiping. So the person behind me paid for the stuff that I had bought at the gas station. And I was so thankful. So in my thankfulness and just being happy and, I don't know, so grateful for him paying for my stuff, I kept saying thank you and bowing. And as I was walking out, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. But that's a thing in Korea, so you can do that in Korea. Here in the US, you might look silly, so I make a fool out of myself almost on a daily basis. But it's just so ingrained in me that I still do that. It's just little things like that, that you want to be mindful of. You don't want to be rude or offend somebody. So definitely kind of, know what you're getting yourself into. That sounds so bad, but it's not. It's anywhere you go, you kind of want to read up on things and know what the culture is like, so you're not being rude to the people living there. Also, an awesome thing in Korea is public transportation. The train system in Korea is just amazing. I mean, even within this town, you can go from one place to the next place really, really fast, especially in Seoul. It's so well done, and most of the time, I'm going to say 99% of the time, the trains are on time. So the time it says it'll get there, it will be there. They're super fast trains. They're not expensive. So I also suggest to you go on train rides or out of town, if you're not going to Seoul, or if you're in Seoul and you just want to kind of venture out, take the train. It's really easy to use. the train maps are in both Hangul and English. You will see English is very, very common in like the bigger cities like Seoul. It will have it in Hangul and English. So I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Cab rides are not that expensive, but I think a little bit more expensive than the train or walking. The fare usually starts at around $2.50 to $3. And there are those areas where they will know you're a foreigner and kind of have, I don't know how they do it. It happened to me before. I called them and I got out of the cab. But the meter ticks faster. So you're going to spend more money on a ride, whereas if you were Korean, you wouldn't. But I think stuff like that exists, again, in every country. You have those people. Every country. So kind of, see whether or not you want to take the bus, a cab, or take the train, or just simply walk. Walking in Korea isn't that bad. It's such a beautiful country. And even Seoul, even as fast-paced as it is, it's really, really beautiful. So just immerse yourself into the culture, into the country. Eat Korean food. Food also in restaurants isn't that expensive. That it usually starts around, I want to say 5,000 won to around 30,000 won. But there probably are cheaper. And again, 1,000 won is now the equivalent to 92 cents. When I lived in Korea, it was like 1,000 won equals $1. That's kind of how the exchange rate was at the time, so it was easier. So again, 1,000 won as of today is 92 US cents. So 3,000 won is around $3-ish. A little over 3, I think, less than 3, something around that. I still do 1-to-1. You're never off doing 1-to-1. So yeah. Also, enjoy the street food. Street food is amazing. You will see it when you're walking down the street. There'll be some vendors here and there, and you can just get some food, and it's really good. Like, all the food in Korea is absolutely amazing. And I really suggest to you, instead of going to McDonald's or Starbucks, even though the Starbucks there is a bit different, it's also good. But don't go to McDonald's. Don't go to your comfort foods. Venture out. That's what traveling is about. Traveling is about venturing out, having an adventure, trying new things, feeling like Bilbo Baggins. Let's be honest, everyone wants to be like Bilbo and go on an adventure, because that's how I feel on a daily basis. I just want to have an adventure, and then I'll be the happiest person in the world. Just let me travel. I'll be happy if I travel. Yes, there'll be ups and downs during your travel. Things might not go the way you expected them to go, but you will be fine. You'll figure out. You'll learn something new. You will grow from that travel. From that adventure, you will grow as a person. You will be able to figure out things easier in the future. And there's a lot of people that think that Korean people are rude and unfriendly because they will bump into you when walking. Here's the deal. Korea is an insanely fast-paced country. There's a lot of people, especially if you go to the big shopping districts like Myeongdong. There's a lot of people, like, not gonna lie. So people will bump into you to get where they need to go, especially if they're like in a hurry or whatnot. I don't think they mean it in a bad way, or like shoving you out of the side because you're a foreigner. No, they're just trying to get from A to B, and it's a packed street. There's cars driving in that street. So they will bump into you. Of course, safety, like it is in every country that you visit. Make sure you have an eye on your belongings. Like, don't be ridiculous and just think that nothing can happen to you. While it's insanely safe to travel in Korea, it's just like any other country when you are obviously a foreigner and a traveler, to keep an eye on your belongings. It's just really, really simple. And another, I think, bad reputation we see from Korea is drunks. Again, it's not like that. Like in dramas, it's played up. But in every country, I say again, you have those kind of people. You will come across them. So really just kind of keep in mind all these things that you know from your country or that you may not notice about your own country and apply that to Korea. Like, there's drunk people coming out of bars here in the US, or in movies it always shows drunk people or just other things about the US. Same thing goes for Korea. In dramas and Korean movies, it's kind of upplaying things. So don't be scared. Be prepared as much as you can. One little tip, bring deodorant. Korean people don't use deodorant, and no, they do not smell. It's in their DNA that there's something different about their chemical compound in their body, that their sweat does not start to smell. So finding deodorant is extremely hard, so bring it with you. And if you find deodorant in Korea, it's going to be extremely expensive. So that's just like a personal hygiene thing that I would absolutely bring with you. It's deodorant. Or if you're a female hygiene items. You know what I'm talking about. The ones that you're comfortable with. Yes. So again, study the history. I'm not saying be ready to take a test, but see where you want to go, what part of Korean history interests you the most, and kind of make your travel plan that way. Learn basic Korean. I think I'm going to follow this podcast up later on with some suggestions of phrases and words to know that I think are very, very important to know. Yes, don't overpack your luggage because you're going to bring stuff back, like snacks, beauty items, snacks. I missed the snacks. Brush up on the culture, like what's appropriate to do, like the hand thing with money or the slight bow, stuff like that. And really just have fun. Just have fun. Immerse yourself in the culture. Do unexpected day trips. That's, I think, the best part is take a train, kind of remember what train you took, but they're color-coded. You'll remember, don't worry. Take a map with you. Just say, I want to go here and here today. And do that. Why not? At least have a day or two of that in your travel plans where you just kind of go wherever you feel like going, because I will bet with you that day where you're just going to travel and point to a map and travel right there is going to be the best experience you will ever have. It will be the most fun you've had. You will meet the most friendliest, amazing people. It'll make a big difference on the way you see your vacation if you do a few days, maybe one or two. 1 or 2 is enough of just go wherever you want to go. Don't have a plan for those days. Just wake up that day, look at the map and say, this sounds interesting, let's go. I think you will have an amazing time if you do that. And again, I will follow this podcast up with some other travel tips. Definitely the language, but if there's something else that you think you want to know about Korea, traveling in Korea, traveling to Korea, things to know about Korea for your travel days, feel free to comment down below. I read through all of them, and I will respond even. So if there's something that you definitely want to know or you're unsure of, go ahead, comment. I will answer it. It's just simple like that. Let's have a conversation. That's what the internet is kind of made of now. You can have conversations with people all around the world, so why not do it? I hope this was somewhat helpful to you guys. I hope you're planning on going to Korea maybe this summer, maybe in the future. Maybe put this on your bucket list. And I will see you on Sunday for K-pop coffee talk. Love you guys. Annyeong. Bye-bye.